have some news. It turns out integration is very, very hard. Now, everyone thought that you could import a billion foreigners and they would just become English because the magic soil or the fun songs or the Beatles or something. I mean,
For
what
some
was the
reason-
rationale?
For some reason, they'd be deeply bought into the history of Britain.
Yeah. Turns out, no, it's really quite difficult. And this, I think, got revealed in a few things that happened over the weekend. Now, I think we have been aware for quite a while about how difficult this can be, but these examples, I think, make it perfectly frank. Now, there was a protest in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, these people in Charlotte, they're very, very active in their protests because they turned up, and as you can see, 8 of them got arrested. 2 guns were seized after the protests turned violent.
I like how non-specific this reporting is. It's just a civil rights protest over a cultural festival, bro.
200 individuals taking part in a civil rights protest over a cultural festival. You are right. That does tell me everything I need to know. I could move on now. I've been informed.
I literally know nothing about the people, what they were protesting, or what was happening that they were protesting.
Yeah, as you can see here, there are some cops. That's about it. That's all you need to know. The people of Charlotte have risen up to do something. Turns out, no. The details in here are that it was them protesting against a celebration of Operation Fenkel.
What's that?
I'm sure every American knows Operation Fenkel. People of Charlotte certainly know.
I've never heard of it.
Well, it was to do with this. So, oh no, something's broken. There we are. So as you can see, some other residents of Charlotte had turned up with their Eritrean flags because the residents of Charlotte are deeply tied with Eritrea and were celebrating Operation Fenkel. And the other people outside were protesting the celebration of Operation Fenkel.
Is this where the CIA overthrew the Eritrean government or something?
Nope. There are 0 Americans involved in Operation Fenkel.
What the hell is their problem?
It's also the 34th anniversary, which I'm sure the people of Charlotte, for every the last 34 years, they've been celebrating.
Yeah.
Anything. I didn't know what the hell it was, but then again, I'm not an American, so why would I? So as you can see here, it's the Second Battle of Massawa.
Oh, okay.
Which, of course, just like Thanksgiving every year, people sit and share Eritrean food, if there is any, and talk about Operation Fenkel.
Right, so this is the Communist Party of Eritrea attacking Ethiopia.
So this was a battle that began, as Wikipedia tells us, so all Americans are lulled to sleep with this story, when the Epel forces initiated their offensive on the Shibab, and they took Messawa. The hell am I dealing with?
I love these American words.
Typical Southern words. I think if you say them in a Southern accent, maybe they'll be a bit better. The response was that the Ethiopian government responded by using napalm and cluster bombs against the city of Massawa. And then, who cares?
African War, okay.
Give us a toss, in case you're wondering what this is about. It's the Eritrean War of Independence, where they fought against the Ethiopian Empire, and then the Ethiopian People's Republic. Just as American as, I don't know, baseball?
Apple pie.
That's English.
John Wayne.
That's definitely American. But anyway.
Cowboys.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know which American doesn't celebrate the independence war from the 60s to the 90s. I mean, they were deeply involved. I mean, they were not even funding either side. Oh, okay. I mean, usually...
Finally, we found a war that America wasn't interested in.
Yeah, but apparently this one, the Americans are just like...
Well, why would you?
Gives a toss.
Yeah.
But as you can see, what's kind of funny about this war, for people who don't know, is that it started out with the Eritreans not being communist. Then they became communist.
Right.
And as you can see, the Ethiopians started out as an empire and then became communist by the end of it. African War. Nobody cares. Who could give a crap? Well, the people of Charlotte, it turns out. And in case you're wondering, well, there is more to be had, because in the Netherlands, they also were twinned with Charlotte.
Oh, yes.
Particularly The Hague. They're twinned with Charlotte because they decided to have a party, a rather violent one, about this battle, which the people of Hague are also deeply involved in. I'm sure. Some images, people listening, and it's just rioting.
Mostly peaceful.
Yeah.
Mostly peaceful Africans rioting in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Peter Boghossian DM'd me this and was like, what the hell's going on? I was like, well, actually, Africans rioting in European cities is kind of normal these days.
You're right.
I know. I wasn't even being facetious.
I'm surprised he was surprised, to be honest.
He's from Portland.
But there we are.
He doesn't understand the long tradition of the South.
of Southerners and Eritrean.
Yeah.
Dutch.
He's a Northerner. He doesn't get it.
Well,
Hi folks, sorry to interrupt the video, but I just want to direct your attention to the aesthetics range of merch that we have on the store. These are beautiful images that I think work really well as posters or mugs. So if you want to support us, going over to the merch store at shop.lotus.com is easily the best way other than signing up on the website. Get it?
well, maybe he could move over to Canada because the Canadians have also had some celebrations. Of course, they're very deeply tied to the 34th anniversary of the Operation Fenkel. Why? What are you talking about? And this, I think, is just a great example. It's one of many that you can pick.
It's just proof of the magic soil working, Callum.
As you can see, Canadians, Americans, and the Dutch have all become one about Operation Fenkel. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Who cares? What?
It's over. I mean, what's the claim of the Ethiopians? Let's hear their side.
I don't want to hear the Northerners' perspective on Operation Fenkel. I want to hear the Southerners' Operation Fenkel position. You can see here, they actually had to celebrate. This is the Eritrean Canadian page. Yep. They're celebrating that this was safe. They didn't do the Dutch traditional Operation Fenkel celebrations of burning their own town down. No, instead, they just did some dancing.
I mean, we know that these people are just colonizers, right?
Yeah.
They're literally colonizers.
But the point being, What are you meant to get out of this? I mean, are these people integrating in any respect?
No, of course not. They're setting up an Eritrean colony in Canada, in the Netherlands, in America.
They're literally setting fire to the bloody place. I mean, this is probably, you could say,
Peacefully.
one of the most perfect examples of integration failing on the idea that the magic soil will just make them Dutch, Canadian, or...
And there's been no attempt at integration. That's the problem, right?
No, I mean, what do you even do when you've got a proper community? It's not you surrounded by Canadians. It's a community of guys who are not Canadian, not interacting with Canadians, celebrating Operation Fenkel. And in case you're wondering, that Dutch situation, that's the anti-Fenkel people fighting the Fenkel people.
Oh, right, okay.
So...
yeah.
Fenkel law.
I don't know what to say. This may be a perfect example of just it failing, if nothing else. But I have a far graver matter to come to you two with. Something I think you'll have more of an opinion on because it matters closer to home. Smelly food. This is the true curse of Operation Fenkel going wrong. This doesn't actually involve the Eritreans, to be fair. This is a post that went massively viral in the UK over the weekend for a very funny reason. As you can see, Meg. Now, Meg is a doctor and Indian fan, loves cricket.
Okay, yeah.
Presumably not out rioting in Leicester.
India boo.
But discovered on one of her days, she was sent this image, and it's an image of a library. And the library has a food and drink policy. Hot and cold drinks are allowed in the library. Please do not bring any food into the library space, especially not samosas, pakoras, and filled chapatis, as they are very smelly.
I don't know what those things are. I know what a samosa is.
Yeah. I know what samosa is. I don't know the other two as well.
So the issue is that some Indian people were eating pungent Indian food, and it was inconsiderate and impolite for the other people using the library.
This was an NHS library.
Tell me how racist this was.
Yeah, she responds, found this in an NHS hospital library. What was the need for the last sentence?
Because that was the thing that was causing the smell.
Yep. I would have thought that was clear. Just especially mentioning Indian food. Now, the thing about this...
Indian food famous for not being... for being very bland.
Yeah. Who would never notice it? No one's ever walked past an Indian and gone, well, nothing, because they wouldn't smell it.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened. Instead, you smell it and you either like it or don't. But the thing I found especially funny about this is, of course, you can feel the despair of the person who's written it. That tells a story. This is not, he's just had enough of someone eating lots of different types of food. This is, he's spoken to someone probably twice, and they've still not got the bloody message.
Yeah.
So it's just been like, the food you eat, I'm sick of it. And that's my guess.
I just love that the white lib Karen is just like, oh my god, you mentioned Indian food. Oh my god, that makes me feel like I'm being a racist just reading the thing.
I don't know. I think Meg might be an Indian herself, but it's hard to tell. She's in the distance.
Yeah,
so
who knows?
We'll have to find out from someone.
Maybe
else.
she is, but like.
But then there's also some allegations about the person who wrote this as well might be being Indian. But let's go and check out the responses.
I moved to England to get away from your smelly Indian food.
I'm not joking. A lot of people do actually think an Indian wrote that. I mean, you may have noticed. I mean, we know what a samosa is.
Yeah, I don't know what a pakoras or chapatis is.
Like, we're English.
So yeah, maybe there's some specific cultural knowledge on display here.
The thing is, like, we're English. There's a lot of Indian food. We eat a fair bit of it.
We probably would have just said curry.
Might have done, yeah. But anyway, let's check out the responses, because as you can see, that Jesus Christ, it blew up. Just a polite thing about smelly food being smelly. The vast majority, in case you're wondering, are just being like, well, it smells. So, it's what do you want? But certain people didn't seem to get that. This chap responded that they aren't smelly.
Yeah, I bet you think that Mr. Hussein.
We only know his name's Hussein because of the at. I can't read Sanskrit or is that Bangladeshi?
I mean,
They have their own alphabet.
Look at this weird profile, just like the gay and the trans flags, handshaking. Like, what are we?
Gaza, Bangladesh, watermelon. I don't know what's going on here. Followed by Owen Jones.
Yeah, I mean,
of course it is.
Not for minors. Yeah, I bet.
So it turns out some people, this may be the case, can't smell the food. It's not physically possible to be done. So there we are. That might be the problem. I mean, maybe you're not used to being able to smell certain foods. That's quite a thing. Some people said this is clearly racism. So Dr. Shadeep Bansal.
Oh, really? Is that the case, Mr. Sandeep?
Yeah, everyday racism and microaggressions towards foreign staff. Yeah, that was the staff.
You know, I consider your Indian food a microaggression and a form of everyday racism. Now what?
You could easily make that argument.
Yes, you can.
Very often doctors in the NHS, he says.
You've got to understand, as an Englishman, I have a very sensitive palate. I
need to take care of us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You need to stop microaggressing against my nose.
He wasn't the only one to say this, though, but the next Indian lady put it rather bluntly. Constant racism towards food. Now.
Oh, the slop wars are back.
Dr. Nihulfa Ahmed, I don't think, has quite mastered
well, English isn't her first language, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to do the whole "you hate us because we's brown," you've got to try harder.
No, I don't hate you because you're brown. I'm just racist against your food.
Racist against the food. Didn't know food had races. Yeah, but here we are. That's now a thing.
I wish I'd seen this. I posted the Giga chat on.
I am indeed.
I am a food racist. Yeah.
I mean, it goes on. I mean, this guy, Fabud, he didn't like it. He made a meme out of this. Food and drink policy.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Okay to say there's no food, but not okay to say certain kinds of food are the culprit. But again, I mean, I'm overstepping the mark, but I think maybe I'll put a £10 bounty on it. So if you work at the hospital or the one who wrote this, if I'm wrong, you can get 10 quid off me. I reckon this was a recurring problem. Okay?
I thought it was like someone from Burma or something.
It's a Filipino nurse.
Yeah, exactly.
You say that, but it's not uncommon.
But also, it's like the fact that they are saying like no food is acceptable in the library. Like that still isn't okay. There's no like two double tier like distinction between that. They are saying no food's okay, just specifically.
We've had a problem with this.
Yeah.
He's not saying eat as much rotten eggs as you'd like. But God, do you bring curry into this place? I'll have you shot. No,
it's not even racism. It's just equality.
Yeah, but the fact that they're singling out a particular kind of food, that's racism against food. My food, I'm not having it.
Well, as you know, certain people on buses, there's no certain person that makes a lot of noise on a bus, and there's no certain foods that have more smell than others. Whenever people talk about English food, they say it smells just as much. Anyway, a lot of people are suspicious, as I mentioned, that India may have written this because British people don't call them pakoras.
I don't even know what it means.
It's like a form of samosa. We just use samosa for it all.
In the same way we use curry for...
Yeah. We're stupid and ignorant and just go, foreign food. I mean, I love the term ethnic food. Just that term in and of itself is amazing.
That's why I'm racist to it.
But I didn't understand it for the longest time. I kept hearing on American TV. And I was like, oh, do you like ethnic food? I was like, what does that mean?
I just love the idea of racism against food. It makes me feel a lot more justified in Slopgate, to be honest.
All right, yeah. I knew you'd go back to that. But there we are. So that's some people's thoughts.
I want a picture of some of this food.
The hospital in question has refused to name the person who wrote this or mention that they disciplined them. So, I mean...
Discipline them for what?
Well, for doing a racism. Because obviously the hospitals are just as dumb.
Yeah.
The people who work there. But anyway, so I am also going to put a £10 bounty. No, I'll leave it at £10. I'm not made of money. So there we are. But many people did have good responses, which is she's asking, what's the need for the last sentence? I mean, it is written there.
Yeah.
the need for that last sentence. Why are you in a library if you can't read? I'll be honest, that one did make me chuckle. Chuckle. There we are. And then the last thing here is a lot of anger to European food from certain members of the staff. So this is...
No, Nishma, no, they're not okay. It literally says, do not bring any food.
But
Nishma, for Christ's sake, they need to go to the library.
Nishma Shamara says, well, thank goodness my tuna sandwiches, boiled eggs, blue cheese, and crackers are okay then. This type of microaggression bordering on racism is unacceptable within the NHS.
Okay, so it's not quite racism. It's just racism adjacent.
Racism light.
Yeah.
When you're racist towards food, you're not proper racist, are you? It's just,
No, I don't think of myself as a racist.
You just hate, I don't know, borscht or something.
Yeah, just don't like the food.
Okay. So,
Not racist, just don't like it.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense, obviously, because they're saying no food. It's pretty clear. I mean, the rest of that was pretty obvious. There was a specific
I
problem.
mean, Nishma, you're not allowed to bring food in. Don't
But-
know what you want.
There was an awful lot of salt, I must say, around European food. This guy responding here. So this is POC.
Sorry, the NHS has joined the slop war in the anti-slop side.
They have. So this queer POC has joined in to tell us.
Yeah, okay, I take his opinion seriously.
His profile picture, is that a picture of Rishi Sunak? Or am I just...
Yeah, it is.
Okay, actually is. I'm not
Average Conservative Party member.
not seeing differences. Right, there we are. He says, what is it with the NHS and being against flavour,
It's
seasoning,
not a fucking restaurant.
and good food?
It's not a restaurant.
Not everyone is content with plain cucumber and butter
You're
sandwiches.
going there for food.
The thing I love about this is if you're Indian or whatever, or any other ethnicity, I'm sorry, but you do have bland foods in your culture.
But also, they know. That's what I'm saying. They know. We know this is a microaggression against the English. But you're there with your cucumber and butter sandwich, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's really bland. It's like, yeah, I know, because that's what we're acclimatized to.
It doesn't stink.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's like, okay, yeah, we don't actually, our taste buds aren't run through like yours. We don't require this to be able to consume this food. But you knew that this would be offensive to us, and you still brought it in. And it's so many times it had to put up a sign.
But if you want to eat non-European food, it turns out, non-European food that's not smelly.
Yeah.
Why isn't this an option? Nobody brought this up at the table. It's like, if you eat boiled rice, for example,
yeah,
that doesn't smell. That's not English. Rice isn't the staple. Bread is. So there you go. And then you could pick other types of non-smelly foods. It doesn't have to be the case that you're compelled by your genetics to eat smelly food.
Because they want to commit racist microaggressions against us. That's why.
Yeah, okay. It's a choice, is my point.
I just love the way this guy literally thinks the NHS is a restaurant.
But there were loads of these as well. In case you're wondering, there is a restaurant in this particular hospital. And this sign.
Sorry, I just can't get it. What is with the NHS being against flavour? What?
White people don't season their libraries.
What are you talking about? The NHS is against flavour, is it? That's sorry, just
they don't season their libraries, they don't season their rivers. It's
if it was like Gordon Ramsay's restaurant or something, it makes sense.
Yeah. But the hospital has issued a
I went
statement.
into the NHS and all of this just tastes like disinfectant. Like, this is disgusting. I can't eat this.
Yeah. This is the staff food as well. It's not even.
This is a library. It's not even the canteen.
Yeah. So the hospital has issued a statement saying, we are truly sorry for any distress or upset that has been caused by the sign that was put up in the hospital. Really? As soon as we were made aware of it, we removed it. It was absolutely not in line with our values, behaviors of the organization. Indeed, the hospital.
We want smelly libraries, actually.
We are proud to have a diverse workforce and are committed to ensuring the experience of all of our staff is positive and inclusive. Well, the only way you can do that is by permitting the smelly foods on the basis that I can't be seen to be racist towards samosas.
Well, I replied to this being like, look, if you actually want to be inclusive, then what you have to do is make sure that everyone moderates themselves in order to be considerate towards the other people. Because otherwise, there are going to be some things that, say, these sort of vanilla English taste buds are going to be offended by the stench of Indian cuisine. And so something has to be moderated there. Otherwise, you're not being inclusive.
You know what I find funny as well? It's not particularly Indians that are the worst offenders for the smelliest food on earth. There's a proper competition going for this.
Oh, I bet there is.
We were talking about it before we started, but I think there's
The
two.
French and their cheese.
No, God, there's two people who win.
I don't know, man. French cheese stinks. It really does.
Whereas English blue cheese. Beautiful.
Well, I was thinking like cheddar or something.
Okay.
German cheese are pretty good too.
But for people who don't know, I mean, the two people who win this job, I think, has to be kimchi, South Koreans, and surströmming for the Swedish. Now, kimchi is fermented cabbage, and the Swedes win because they went with fermented fish. Comes in a can. Google it if you dare. Buy some if you are really brave and wish to fumigate your house. So there we are. So this isn't
Video of you eating it when?
Never.
I'll go to an active war zone, but I'm not.
I'm not kidding. There are great videos. I think iDubbbz might have got some back in the day, and he opens it, and I had to cut the camera because it reeks out.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Can't breathe. So yeah, no, it's not even the Indians who are being racismed against because their food is smelly.
I'm gonna be racist against the Swedes.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the Swedes are the ones being most victims of racism because they can't eat surströmming in the library. I mean, it is a form of chemical warfare against the other participants, but there we are. The thing I find funny, though, is your solution of having standards.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been the case forever?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Forgot a minute real quick. Just if you're going into the NHS, get yourself used to what you'll be doing. But yeah, on every bus, I mean, I've noted this before. Someone else noticed this. I mean, about every single bus in this country has a sign mentioning smelly food.
Yeah.
Which is, don't do it. The Tube used to do this. Now, what will you do? A little bit of thought from each of us makes a big difference to everyone.
Yeah.
I won't eat smelly food. I'll keep my feet off the seats. I don't know if the pigments of the characters there were on purpose, but there we are. Together London, doing the thing. Anyway, but I wanted to end this off with just one more example of how integration might not be going perfectly and is a tough, tough deal, in case you'd forgotten this story, because I remembered it back from when I used to watch Russell Howard's Good News.
God, I used to watch that as well.
Dark ages. Miserable. This story. Students to be shown how to use the toilet.
The Poo in the Loo campaign has arrived in Britain.
Whoa. These are just students. Just any students, any old students from the University of Sheffield.
Probably from Canada.
Top university puts bizarre warning signs in campus loos after complaints about awful mess.
Is it bizarre if there's regularly an awful mess?
Yeah.
Regularly an awful mess. It's not bizarre. It's necessary.
That's the norm, the new normal. Okay. Do you want to see the signs?
Yeah, go on.
Have a look. There we are. So, what you should do with a toilet, it turns out, the students who went to Sheffield didn't know that they need to sit on it, not squat on it with your feet on the rim.
Who hasn't been there, though? Let's be honest.
But the thing I love is I remember watching Russell Howard's Good News when I was, ignorant and foolish. And I remember his coverage of the story being that, man, young people these days, am I right? And obviously now
I agree with you, Russell.
Students could be here, he thought.
Yeah.
I hate students.
Said the person charged with cleaning the toilets.
There's also another diagram here from the University of Sheffield on toilet etiquette.
Do you not put the toilet paper on the floor?
You put it in the toilet after you use it and flush it, not on the floor.
To the
Because-
Greek students, then.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the one thing I hated about Greece. You can't put the toilet paper down the toilets.
I'm still in shock. I think we learned this. I don't know if you know about this. We looked at a map the other day of whether or not you flush the toilet paper. A lot of countries, you just put it in a bin.
Yeah.
And there's just a pile of shitty...
Yeah.
Why would you...
Do you know why the Greeks do this?
Their plumbing's bad?
Yeah, but do you know why their plumbing's bad?
Because they're Greek?
No.
Oh.
Because we sold it to them. I don't know why, but in 1890 or something, when we're like, oh, we've invented indoor plumbing. For some reason, we gave the Greeks really narrow tubes. I don't know why. And it's been 100 years and they haven't replaced them, whereas we have. So it's just
So there we are.
I don't know why we did it to them.
Integration. It's a
eternal Anglo.
It's very tough. I love how micro it can be. In that we're talking about NHS food in the library, or can you squat on a toilet or not?
Or Eritrean civil war.
Yeah.
No, war for independence.
Well, celebration of the war for independence. And you celebrate by having a civil war between the Dutch Eritrean community. But yeah, I don't just say this to be haha funny. It's going to get worse because I did a little bit of maths over the weekend and I'd like to share you my
Good
equations. You've probably seen this before, which is a graph of when people who are foreign arrived in the UK. And as you can see, it's about, 75% since Tony Blair?
Yeah.
His fault here. Well, I added up the numbers we had for the last 2 years, unadded. Now it looks like this. So this, 19% is just from the last couple of years. And then this is the Tories doing their work. So now over 53% of foreigners in this country are from the Tories, not from Tony Blair. There we are. And if you want to see 6 years from now, it looks like that. Anyway, I have a feeling we might have some more signs to put up, that's all. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Symposium series, this episode on Thomas More's Utopia. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.